Hey everybody, welcome back. This is week 5 of January and I'm Phil Campbell.
I am Caroline at PCM Creative.
You should know this by now anyway, because you've been watching our faces for weeks.
Oh, you should have been.
Yeah, might not have been, but there you go. Twitterati this week, I wanted to talk about the scale of Twitter in terms of, I don't think people realise, even though it's probably fallen down a little bit in social networks, I know Google Plus has gone up to second place, the power and reach of Twitter and tweets. You know, it seems to be absolutely integrated as part of society now.
Oh.
It's on news programmes, it's in newspapers, every business has to have one, or it looks a little bit weird that you've not got any social stuff.
It's that real-time aggregation of comments. I mean, every time I sit down and look at the news, newsreaders are going, and on Twitter, it seems to be the way that they get the public voice of the news now.
But it's also curated voice as well, isn't it? It's a way of them sort of playing with it without playing with it. It's sort of like, well, they said. You know, we didn't say, we've got a Twitter account.
And it's defined, I mean, especially for journalists, it's all right having the news wires and the traditional mechanism, but Twitter now, I mean, you know, the one that always hits me is the Hudson River, where it was on Twitter before the emergency services even located the plane.
That's probably one of the most epic photos I think I've ever seen social media do. Was the guy who was on the plane getting into one of the dinghies that came out of the plane, you know, and then looking back at the plane as he sat on the thing and taking a photo as people coming out onto the wings. I mean, it was the most like, whoa. I think it had something like 50,000 views in about 4 minutes.
And I think, you know,
it's insane.
It's the practitioner as well. If it wasn't for a practitioner or comfortable user of that, they wouldn't have been able to just casually go snap, because that's a really intense situation to be in, to have your device at hand. I mean, that is a very ritualised engagement with technology, and it's one that I think you do incredibly well. And people can either learn a lot from that or start to recognise that there are just people who are pretty brilliant at it.
Yeah, well, Twitter. The thing is, it's like reading between the lines, like newspapers. Really, you know, there's a lot of data in there that, you know, associations. You know, when people are their most dynamic, what days of the week. You know, when people are having breakfast or lunch, and you can. What I tend to use Twitter for is interfacing at the right time on people's terms. It's one thing that business I don't think really does very well. It just goes, I want it now. Yeah. Without knowing, you know. I
sometimes get a bit sad sometimes when I look at the amount of data around a certain topic, and I always wonder how many people really are watching a hashtag rather than actually using it just because they're sticking something on. That's not come up yet, but one of the reasons that this episode has been picked is tweet ping. Yeah,
tweet ping. It's I wanted to sort of open up people's idea of Twitter by getting them to go and have a look at this site. So tweet ping is like this real-time statistical engine that somebody's built using all the latest and greatest .js libraries, and it aggregates tweets from different countries, and you sort of see them dotted up on the screen.
It's like a flight path map, isn't it?
Yeah, but what's fascinating about it, if you watch it for long enough, you just really start to see the scale of how insignificant your tweets actually are. You know, I mean, there is this new metric of data that's moving and swirling around and sort of, and it's fascinating to me, and it kind of I hope it brings people into perspective about how big Twitter is.
And visualising social spaces as well, because digital spaces don't have any physical parameters, and I think these kind of apps, because we're going to be putting some screens behind us at some point, aren't we?
Yeah.
That will have some of these metrics kind of running in the background.
Yeah, we're going to have like 3 screens. They're over there on the sofa, but on the beanbag. But they're going to have, one is going to have a dashboard on it, so it's a bit real time, looking at, you know, Twitter links and Facebook and Twitter, and sort of seeing who's clicked the link and who's come into the Google Hangout. There's one that's going to be just icons and images going by. There's going to be one that does video, and the other one is going to be like a media player centre. So we could literally, if we knew we were going to talk about stuff, we could fire those things up and have them rotated in the background. So
good stuff to come.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I've always wanted a studio like this, really. I've always wanted, and I guess this also feeds into what we're trying to do, is we're trying to create a command centre for social media for Nottingham and you know, independence in general, really. So
cool. Well, that's Twitterati.
Yes, let's go for soup. I'm hungry. We've got one more show to do.
One more show.
We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.